Hiya, and welcome back to Far Beyond the World, the game that teaches us that the Chief Varrock and Vithar, they totally fuck on the down low. Same for Aldris and Drawn, but no one wants to think about that. Let's just hop right in. Actually, did the save thing. It all just works. Come, let's get some sleep. Chapter 13. Like I said, no one wants to think about that. No one wants to think about it. Do I need to censor at all around here? Hang on. Let me change the thing because it's going to bug the shit out of me. Hang on. Awesome. True to her word, Sylph arranged for us to be woken up with a persistent knock. Master Wolf, I was told to interrupt your slumber at the approach of the third hour. Thank you. Ugh, it's 10 already. Oh my god, okay, it's still doing that. Yeah, we're gonna fix that. No, Word from the author. This version of the VN runs on a new code. Save and load game functionality have been reinstated. However, your old saves will most likely no longer be compatible. I don't know if this old save was compatible. I highly advise overwriting that. What the fuck is going on? Well, I'm dumb. So, to facilitate continuity and immersion, you can enter the character name you've been using thus far. What the shit? Hold on. Hold up. Chapter 13. True to her words, Sylph arranged for us to be woken up with a persistent knock. Master Wolf, I was told to interrupt your slumber at the approach of the third hour. Thank you. Ugh. It's 10 already? Yeah, I didn't realize that it was like a prompt. It was a prompt. I didn't realize that. I mumble to myself incoherently. In truth, it feels like we're being woken up at daybreak. But I know it not to be true, as that's exactly when we finally hit the hay. I'm tired and sluggish, and the only thing that forces me out of bed is the importance of the task at hand. Rannoch's diplomatic mission and a potential goodbye or last-moment Hail Mary. Either way, I'd kill for a cup of coffee right now. But the chill of the room helps to put the skip into my step all the same. I use water from a pitcher to splash my face while Rannoch dresses up. Getting ready and out of the room is almost an insurmountable task, but eventually I get dressed and we're on our way. As we descend the rickety stairs towards the main hall to order some breakfast, I finally look to the wolf in somewhat more alert fashion. So, what's the plan? Well, before we head to the magistrate, I want to show you around the city. Do we have time for that? I don't see why not. As long as we get there before noon, it should all be fine. I want to give you a small taste of what Strandbard has to offer, including the eponymous inn? I definitely butchered that word. I ask hopefully, remembering what he said yesterday. Especially the inn. There's always some famous sing-stroll there. It's almost like a holy sight to their kind. But first, I want to take you to the market. We need to buy some new things, and that's also where my original adventure started. A young pup smelling of forest herbs. I take an idle sniff of his fur, my nose immediately filled with the so familiar scent of the woods. Fuck. Even now I can't help but pine for that wolf. We struggle for a while to find a free table, as the inn is tightly packed with guests. One of the waitresses tells us to wait next to a couple that's about to finish their meal. Looks like the entire city is having their breakfast here. One of the few things tigers and us have in common. They eat together in taverns and inns, as most houses don't have kitchens. Apparently, it's a fire hazard. Makes sort of sense. In a tightly packed place like this, a single house could take down half the city with it. I conclude. Within a few moments, we're ushered to a table, as a little dough girl wipes its surface clean. I can't see Sylph anywhere, but I guess after such a long shift, she's allowed a day off. My stomach is still quite unsettled, so I order a porridge with bacon, which I saw some of the patrons enjoying, while Rannoch treats himself to roasted ham and eggs. The food arrives quite promptly. Considering it's the morning rush, and I smile in wonder of so many new faces coming in and out of this place. I have to admit, during the day looks much more inviting. I told you Strandbart is safe. While Rannoch happily indulges in some ale, he seems to be quite fond of, I stick to Tissane. Yesterday's dream lies heavily on my conscience, no matter how much I want to forget about it. I don't feel good keeping this stuff to myself, but at the same time, I'm done being brushed off each time I try to open up. And again, our situation is very much in the air. This might come across as me simply trying to emotionally blackmail him, which is the last thing I want to do. If he changes his mind about this whole fiasco, I want him to do it on his own. And if he does that, then it will be time to talk about the cosmic fart that's been harassing me. Hiya! I know you keep saying you're okay, but you very much don't seem so. Sorry, I was miles away. Exactly. I groan in mild annoyance. It was just a bad dream I no longer remember. I'm bound to have a few considering you might leave me here. I guess. Fucking neighbors. His expression turns and he locks his sad eyes into the food before him. I just focus on the meal. The sooner we're out on the town, the more distracted I'll be from everything that's currently going on. As I'm scooping the last portion of porridge, I jump up, as so many other guests do, startled by the sudden slam of the door. A young, well-dressed tigress stands in the entryway, heaving heavily and pointing her dagger-like finger at the innkeeper. "Father!" She cries out in this typical spoiled princess sort of way. "I ran here as fast as I could. I didn't even get to change." "Not now, sweetie. I'm working." "Yes, now." Oh my god, thank you for the follow. She stomps her foot, drawing the attention of the entire room to the barkeep's dismay. "I've been to my new house, and they've lined out the perimeter for the garden. 10 paces wide. 10 paces. Have you gone completely senile?" "Honey, it can wait." "No, it cannot. I won't be made a laughingstock of the entire town." 10 paces is more than enough for a garden." "To whom?" Her voice is getting higher and louder, beyond what I even thought was possible. "It would be cruelty to keep a horse in there. You couldn't even host a decent orgy in that thing." I spray out my cup of herbs directly into Rannoch's face, choking violently on the droplets that found their way to my lungs. Be open-minded. Okay. The wolf, ignoring his now wet muzzle, rushes to my side and pats me on the back as I try to regain my breath. Fuck, I'm so sorry. I gasp, barely able to take an inhale. What the hell happened? I take a discreet glance across the room, seeing that my little outburst drew pretty much everyone's attention, including the barkeep and his daughter. Brushing me off to a simple choking incident, they return to their spat as the owner leads his daughter to the back room and the counter is taken over by one of his staff. I don't think the word orgy means the same here as it does back home, otherwise I doubt she'd be talking about it with her father. I whisper to Rannoch discreetly, trying to keep a straight face while he wipes his muzzle dry. What do you mean? The wolf tilts his head helplessly, and I take another sip to calm down my aching throat. You know, like yesterday, and more specifically, that gangbang with the hyena. What's a gangbang? He blinks, causing my complexion to change at least a few hues on the red scale. That group that went upstairs, do I have to spell it out for you? I heard her barely audible whisper. Oh, that! I was confused what that had to do with an orgy, but I understood your implication. What do you mean? A tigery orgy is just a lavish, decadent party. No sex involved, not as far as I'm aware. Ah, so it's just a fancy party. Maybe sex, maybe not. I hide my burning face in my hands. Do humans copulate at parties? Is that something common in your culture? What? No! I exclaim in horror, yet again drawing the attention of the other guests. Fuck me, this is really embarrassing. Well, I don't mind if it is something your kind does. He winks, raising his brow in that taunting fashion. As I said, I'm quite interested in broadening my Okay, shut up. This conversation is over. The wolf smirks, clearly glad that he has ruffled my feathers, judging by his wide swings of tail. Eventually, the barkeep comes back, escorting his still disgruntled, but somewhat pacified daughter out the door. I guess she got her way in the end. How big is 10 paces anyway, I wonder? On his way back to the counter, Rannoch waves the barkeep over. Yes, Master Wolf? Was everything to your satisfaction? Good. Rannoch responds, putting down a plate he just licked clean. Damn! For some reason, seeing him use that tongue sends tingles down my spine. Anything else I could do for you today? Yes, how much for him to live here? How much for him live here for 1 year? He asks crudely, and I blink. My improved mood totally gone by this very harsh reality check. We're still looking for a way for me to stay here safely from the turmoil in Turnin. Oh, that's a tricky question, Master Wolf. The pudgy male grimaces, looking up as if seeking an epiphany in the ceiling, but his livelier than usual paw rubbing reveals he's just devising a way to squeeze as much coin out of us as possible. Thankfully, Rannoch cuts short his theatrics and with the heavy paw plop on the table. This enough? He reveals 2 sizable golden discs with various emblems and inscriptions. 2 talents? Why, my lord, for that price, I'll accommodate this youngling in the best room I have. Are we really doing this? I mutter in a mix of disbelief and resignation. What other choice do we have? He responds solemnly, completely ignoring the innkeep still standing at our table. The tiger toys impatiently with his fingers, licking his lips at the sight of the glimmering bullion just slightly out of reach of his paws. Turnin is not safe anymore. And what am I supposed to do? Sit here for a year, and if you won't return, then what? With luck, your memory returns, and before the money runs out, you can travel home. He shrugs, our otherworldly conversation clearly not sinking in just yet. I'll leave you enough coin to keep you going, but it would be best if you'd find a job. Earn some additional money. Find a job? How? I scoff mockingly. This idea grows more ludicrous by the minute. I don't have any trade skills. Improvising an imaginary new life isn't exactly more reassuring than me doing what we did so far in Turnin. The wolf sighs heavily and finally addresses the impatient innkeep. He get a job here, in town, easy, hard? He doesn't look much of anything, Master Wolf. The tiger, though eager to please, looks at me dismissively. What trade has he practiced? See, I told you so. I bump back into my chair, crossing my arms in a petty triumph. No trade. He young, smart, he learn. With all due respect, Master Wolf, he seems rather old for anyone to take him up as an apprentice. And even if he was lucky enough, he wouldn't see any pay for at least a year or so. Perfect. So slave at one place to a slave at another. I snicker. Stop it. I'm trying my best. The wolf grumbles and addresses the tiger again. Work here, serve like bunny, clean? He points to the waitresses scampering about, and even before the barkeep retorts, I can see this is much more demanding a job than Rannoch makes it out to be. I'm fully staffed, I'm afraid. My girls are well paid and well trained. Unless one drops dead, I don't believe I'll have an opening soon. So, no way he earned money? Well, there might be some, Master Wolf. The pudgy tiger rubs his chin. Is he a singer? Got any good voice on you, lad? As good as anyone bathing in the morning or taking a piss in the woods. Hold up. It was just too perfect. Damn, wrong program. If your intention is to have me perform as a singstrel, I'm afraid that's not what fate had in store for me. Honest and eloquent. The innkeep laughs and pats his rounded belly. In all fairness, I don't find it funny. I've seen how he treats the bards. Well, not everything's lost, I believe. You're human, quite young-looking with taut, fair skin. Beast folk around here tend to gravitate towards the exotic. He winks at me in some sort of imagined understanding, and I give him a puzzled look. The male simply nods towards the corner of the room where I spot the tigress from upstairs. She's seated at a table smoking away her pipe, engaged in a rather rushed courtship with her first customer of the day. Content that I've spotted my query, the barkeep then nods towards the other side of the hall where the same tribal hyena from yesterday is wooing a large lion, whose paws disappear beneath the loincloth of the youth. They're all whores. I'm getting incredibly flushed at the realization, and the innkeep smiles at us coyly. Your master surely understands how it goes. After all, he chooses his company wisely. I'm sorry, I don't think... I blink, but the tiger continues as if it were the most natural thing. You could earn a good coin, and with my best room, you could entertain the highest clientele. Of course, I'd have to take a cut. Let's say 20-80. I think that's fair. Rannoch looks to me with equal confusion, but his muzzle also betrays hints of disbelief and outright horror. Please tell me this tiger isn't saying what I think he's saying. Oh my... I'm pretty sure we're on the same page here, Rannoch. I grumble in annoyance and don the most fake smile I can possibly muster. Are you trying to pimp me out, sir? Careful, tiger. Less words needed to honor battle. Rannoch clenches his fist. What's the matter? The boy has no skill, nothing to kill time with. The only asset he has is the one he sits on. Let's be practical. Why not use it? He no whore. The wolf growls, slamming his fist against the table. Why such language? The innkeep smiles goofily while I decide to wet my parched lips in Rannoch's cup. I would call him a professional companion. I choke on the ale, spurting it around as some of it went up my nose. I've been called that before already. Seems I was truly setting into my role with Rannoch. He could be a master at it with proper guidance. I mean, if he were able to entertain such a bulky specimen like yourself, he'd manage most of what we have here, no pro- Enough. Speak more and I take your fangs. I shudder, startled by Rannoch throwing himself to his feet, looking at the tiger with murderous intent. I'm only saying, it would be a cushy life for him. If you grew tired of him and no longer require his services, I can take him in. And should some of my customers prove too much, he could always stretch on vegetables from the kitchens. Nope. Get it, Rannoch. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him, Rannoch. I will do a whatchamacallit. What was that one thing called? The Keanu Reeves. I'm trying to remember what it was called. Fuck, I cannot remember for the life of me. What was that one thing that Keanu Reeves does? You know, the one where he killed someone with a pencil because they killed his dog. Hang on, I'm gonna Google it real quick. John Wick. John Wick. Come on, Rannoch. Pull a John Wick. Grab that mug and slam this guy's head in. Because that is just awful. Immediately, I look at the bowl of porridge I just ate, thinking of the yesterday's stew. I'm gonna be sick. Tell this tiger to go fuck himself before I bash his muzzle in and we both end up in prison. I nod, covering my mouth and trying to settle my stomach. Once done, I face the barkeep with another fake smile. I think you have us mistaken, good sir. My master extends his warmest gratitude, but we're inclined to look for an alternative. Now, if you please, we'd like to be left alone. The stocky male is hesitant to leave, looking anxiously at the golden coins slowly slipping away from his grasp. But you thought wrong. I say more sternly, to which he finally concedes. Very well, but should you... Go. Now. Please. The male sighs in defeat, clearly puzzled by this outcome, but bows gracefully and trots back to his station. Rannoch also exhales heavily and gives me a slightly aggravated look. I understand tigery, you know. Yes, but there's not much to be gained in throwing threats around, is there? Especially not with an armed company who starts taking notice of our disagreement. I nod towards the bar where two city guards chat cautiously, taking alert glances in our direction. Besides, considering how chatty the barkeep is, we wouldn't want him to have some unflattering tales to spin, right? Ugh. He groans in annoyance, sitting back and pushing away his bowl, casting his troubled gaze into the far side window. I do the same, chasing away the idea that I might have ingested a hyena-flavored carrot the previous day, and extend my pot of place on his... Oh god. Oh god, it just hit me. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ew. Ew. Rannoch, I know you want to fix things, and you always want to do that in one fell swoop, but this cannot be fixed. Not like this. I reason, trying to draw his attention, but he only closes his eyes. If you leave me here, you would be worried sick knowing how close by I am. You'd be tempted to visit just as much as I'd be tempted to go back. It just did! Oh my god. Oh my god, just ew. Plus, who's to say I won't get robbed here? Like you said, I'm not a wolf. I can't cave people's muzzles in. Seeing how much wealth that you've shown, they might assume I have an equal share in mug me. So it turns out you also don't trust the tigers. The wolf grumbles, facing me with a half-teasing smirk in an attempt to bring back some sense of humor. I don't trust strangers in seedy taverns proposing to prostitute me in exchange for shelter. I shrug. He was already looking for ways to squeeze money out of me by introducing the cut of his imaginary human brothel. Oh no, I had an idea, but like... I knew, but like... Oh my god, just... Hang on, where is it? Right here. That just... Oh my god. Jesus fuck, why did Squidward come to mind? Jesus Christ. Squidward knows. He's a con artist. His species has nothing to do with it. I still can't believe his nerve to even suggest such a thing. Well, I've consumed enough stories in my life to be distrustful of anyone even remotely connected with ownership of a brothel. I chuckle, picking up his mug and taking a deep gulp. I don't think any of the tiger's professional companions could have trained anything on it in particular. Disgusting, decadent tigery. Rannoch continues to sneer in clear contempt. What else did I expect from such a corrupt kin? I mean, it was kind of funny. I smirk, not hiding some twisted sense of pride in the suggestion. It was perverse. He only proposed something that you can barely stop yourself from doing. That's completely different. He yelps out, grabbing his mug from me and taking a long chug. I found you wounded on my coming of age. It was the hand of fate that brought us together, not an otherkin fetish. Hand of fate, which you are eager to discard now. I circle back to our pending issue and his expression sours. He gives me a pleading look and I decide to let it go. A bunny waitress comes over to check on our drinks and refills Rannoch's mug with a pitcher of ale. I wiggle my empty cup at her and she pours me around too. Let's get rid of that. Hang on. Do I have it here? I only have the get wrecked. We're just gonna keep that up for now. Just get wrecked. Fuck. Might as well have a proper drink, all things considered. To think he even suggested such a thing. So much for tigery culture. The wolf growls softly, still seething over the exchange. Oh my god, that fat guy that's like Iroh, that's in the countryside. We could just like go stay with him. We're still at the edge of Turnin. Rannoch wouldn't have to run as far. It all works out. Just like give us to the old fat Iroh tiger, like that's on the edge of Turnin, and we'll just live with him. The wolf growls softly, still seething over the exchange. I wouldn't dismiss all the tigers based on one unfortunate interaction. Any kin that tolerates prostitution is without honor. I think that's going a bit far. I frown, taking another sip. I'm sure there are wolves out there who do partake in this form of enterprise. Never. That would be utterly out of the question. I highly doubt that. Where I come from, it's generally accepted that prostitution is the oldest of trades. Then perhaps you shouldn't go back where you come from. He scoffs mockingly and I raise a brow at him. It's not like I'm desperate to do so. Try as I may, he's the one constantly scratching the issue at hand, and I shake my head. I'm serious, I don't condone the act, but I also don't condemn it. Sometimes people have no other choice. If both parties consent and mutually benefit from the arrangement, who am I to judge? Perhaps you are a tigery after all, considering your liberal views. I wouldn't say that, I'm just a realist. Circumstances such as they are can always change. I'd rather be dead than offer my body to an unworthy match. I don't know. Let's bring up the one visual novel prostitute that we know about, and we can just like do a quick comparison. I don't know why that sounds fun. Pull it up. The stream's going to die for a little bit. Don't worry, it does that. Do I even have the the smoke room on here? I do not. Yeah, Samuel from the smoke room, he does prostitution, and I don't know, he seemed pretty happy until he, oh wait, spoilers for the smoke room, don't like then like mute this, he seemed pretty happy until he casually murdered someone, so I mean like, I don't know, you might seem pretty happy until you casually murder someone. Never say never. There might be factors in play that would bypass your sense of morality altogether. Is that what you think of me? That I'm capricious and easily swayed? Hard to argue otherwise when you made a complete reversal on our entire path deal. I decide to allow myself one last blow before returning back on track. I think people in general, when presented with impossible choices, do make the impossible. Nonsense. He snorts in dismissal, to which I simply lean in with determination on my face. What if my life were on the line and the only person who could save me was Tano? And in return for his aid, he'd demand you to give him the night he never had. A good tumble like the couple from upstairs had. What then? Is that what you want in your free time? Invent ludicrous scenarios involving various members of the tribe copulating? Wait, how are we supposed to pronounce his name? I cannot remember for the life of me. Let me, like, hop over to the comments on the YouTube video that, told us how to pronounce it. Because I cannot remember for the life of me how to pronounce it. we got right. It's under comment. Kalen. Yeah, thought it was. Um, yeah, Kalen. Oh my. Kalen is slowly turning into a Wattpad writer. A Wattpad fanfiction writer. That comment surprises me, and I spurt out some mail on another failed attempt to take a sip. It does take a moment for me to compose myself and wipe my lips clean. Guilty as charged. I chuckle, partially in jest, but partially because I was perving quite a bit lately. But I'm being serious. Just ask yourself honestly if you would not abandon your moral code in such a dire situation. Never. Even if my life was on the line? He tilts his head in annoyance. In what mad world will that even be a probable thing? I don't know. Just humor me. It's always this trick you do. You keep prodding for answers when you've already established... Keep prodding for answers you've already established in your head. Not intentionally, it's just a hypothetical. Just like me killing you if my tree was damaged? Well, at least then you gave me the courtesy of an honest answer. His eyes widen in slight offense, and he releases an exasperated sigh. Fine, if it's honesty you want, so be it. If such a ridiculous arrangement existed and your life depended on it, I would concede to such a mating. But mark my words, I would make sure Tano only revisited it in his worst nightmares. Tano's about to experience death by snoo snoo. A soft yet foreboding growl escapes his throat and a shiver rushes down my spine. He's serious. And he's territorial. As much as I'm flattered by the lengths he'd go to for me, I can't help myself but celebrate an argument won with a confident smile. So in other words, you would do it. It's not the same as prostitution. The wolf shrugs, emptying his mug and looking back towards the window. It kinda is. You offer your body in exchange for a service. What I'm trying to say here, don't judge people before you know their circumstance. Then I hope your virtue will never hinge on your circumstance, as it seems your moral code is of the loosely interpreted variety. Pout all you like, but I can see clearly what's going on here. He looks to me in part shock and fright, as if called out on a bluff. In truth, that's exactly what I intend to do. This conversation proved to me one thing beyond a shadow of the doubt. You're just angry at the thought of me being physical with others and upset at the prospect of you having to do the same. This is madness, Rannoch. You cannot leave me here. You will go insane, if not because of our joint attachment, then because of what-ifs that began multiplying ever since we left Hernan. And there it is, the look of utter defeat as I force him to fold. His paw is empty, with no more aces left to play. As on cue, the one of the table erupts in another round of laughter and cheers, applauding exploits of one of the gamblers, and I smile. He has nothing to say. Deep inside, he realizes I'm right. It was a game, set, and match. And with us both finally arriving at the same page, it's just a matter of figuring out how to get me back home. Home at the cabin in the woods. You know you do have to take me back. I say, looking into his saddened eyes, and the wolf flinches. Even if I wanted to, I was ordered. Orders can and should be defied when they're insane. I state plainly. I could be a great asset to you here. You can't even speak Tigray fluently enough to meet with the officials on your own. He winces uncomfortably in silent agreement. You'll have to take me to the meeting with the magistrate. Perhaps, once there, we could find a way to prove to your father that keeping me around is a much better idea than dancing to Aldrich's tune. Especially if such a thing can backfire. It's not safe. Where is safe, really? I interrupt him, impatient with the flimsy arguments he clings onto. Do you honestly think I'll survive on my own in this city full of other kin? I'll get robbed, raped, or killed before the howl can even end. I'm not safe anywhere. Despite how counterintuitive it seems, I'm safest at your side. You know it's true. He takes a moment to contemplate my words, looking into the bright world beyond the window. He is troubled, and I can see that despite my reasoning finally reaching him, he's still fighting back. Even if it is so, I cannot offer you what you want. The wolf exhales heavily, locking his sad eyes with me. How do you know? Did you ask me what I want? Don't assume things you can't possibly know. I can only offer half measures, something that's beneath you. Let me decide that. I state defiantly. Maybe, just maybe, what you have to offer is exactly what I'm looking for. I can never be officially with you. It would ruin my reputation and put us both in danger. Do you think I don't realize that? I scoff in amusement at how little faith he has in my emotional state. I'm not Tano. I'm not with you for fame or exposure. I'm with you because I enjoy your company as is. I can be your dirty little secret a whole while longer. I've been one so far, and yet I haven't crumbled. You say that now, but there's no buts. I shake my head. I don't know how I'll feel about this few months down the road. So can you? So how can you? What matters here and now, and now I'm telling you it's not something I'm overly worried about. There's also my intended. He mutters anxiously and I nod. Maeve. Hang on, let me...
Self-voicing enabled. Sahelen, Maeve.
I must do my duty. Now more than ever. She's not only my intended, but a hinge upon which rests our alliance with Arden. I know, and I've been living with that knowledge for a while now. I smirk, noticing his surprised expression. I don't see it becoming an issue all of a sudden. I came to terms with your marital status. And you won't be hurt when the time comes for me to... The wolf pauses awkwardly, like a child that has to say a no-no, and I smile. I don't know. I give him an honestly indifferent shrug. It's something we can worry about when we arrive at that bridge. I don't think you actually thought this through. I don't think this would be fair to either of us. If life were fair, we wouldn't have to deal with any of this nonsense, yet here we are. Bigotry and prejudice exist. We can't just wish them away. I splay my hands teasingly and mutter a more serious tone to match my penetrating gaze. I love you, or for lack of a better word, I'm in love with you. I say, letting the words hang, and the wolf swallows heavily, placing upon my hand. His lips quiver a moment before he parts them and speaks in a shaky voice. I'm in love with you too. The more restrained and cautious choice of words betrays he's equally conflicted as I am about this. There's a but incoming. I vocalize my gut feeling and he nods. I just need you to know that I'm not looking for anything serious. We don't have a luxury of becoming truly involved. Of course! I smile at him gently, interlaying his paw with my other hand. I'm not looking for anything serious either. We're all kinda all over the place right now, emotionally speaking. And my memory, as jumbled as it is, does come back to me in piecemeal. You have your future all set up, and I do have to go home eventually. There will be a goodbye at some point. It just doesn't have to be now. I say with a grim certainty, causing the wolf to raise his brow at me. And you're fine with this? Beggars can't be choosers. I shrug teasingly. I've lucked out immensely, all things are considered. You're the only person I know and trust, despite you working hard to help me develop some trust issues. I wink teasingly and he smiles weakly. Perhaps it's too soon to joke about this yet, but I don't care. I want to be with you. I wouldn't trade you for 100 unknowns. Are you sure about this? Yes! I nod, trying to reassure him with a much lighter tone. It could be fun. We could be each other's summer fling. Summer fling? You know, summer comes, summer goes, a one-off deal to make the most of here and now. His expression brightens and he bops his head merrily. Yeah, that does sound nice. I could approach our relationship like this, but only if you won't hold it against me that I'll still be on the lookout for a way to safely leave you here. I grimace slightly, but then nod, as it does seem only fair. And, only if you're absolutely sure you want such a loose arrangement and can deal with the consequences, right back at ya. I snicker, poking my fingers at him teasingly. So, since we're finally on the same page, to our joint fling? I raise a mug in a mock toast and the wolf does the same. To our joint fling, and with a clink we celebrate our new understanding. The walk through the bustling streets of the town is quite refreshing, especially with the much-welcomed spot of good weather. The ground is still soaked after yesterday's downpour, but at least the warm sun shines in full. The narrow streets are filled with the other kin of all shapes and sizes going about their daily lives. It's funny, but it's almost exactly how I imagined it. Everyone's rushing somewhere while others are already hard at work in the ground floor front-facing workshops. It's an industrious place, that's for sure, with businesses filling every space they can. Despite not a single human in sight, no one pays me any mind. For the first time in my current life, I don't feel like an oddity or a freak. I thought there would be more tigers about, I point out, as despite them being a majority, there's still enough of sylvan folk, wolves, and various other felines. It's really surreal to see so many other kin at once. Told ya. Rannoch snickers and I nod. He did warn me. I'm awestrucken by this place, so different from the sleepy village we came from. It's almost as if I'm reliving his own experience from all those years ago. It feels nice, and the town indeed seems idyllic, with people pretty much obviously living out their own personal fairy tale. Such a stark contrast to what life on Earth used to be. I mean, I'm sure there were spots like this back in my world, but this still very much feels alien. My previous life was much, much different than this. My gaze trails behind a group of pups and cubs chasing a metal loop down the road. Aww. I bring my hands to my chest, almost melting at the sight. Rannoch wasn't kidding. This is so much different from his tribe. Never understood the appeal of rolling hoops. He shakes his head, forcing a chuckle out of me. Neither do I admit through laughter. But it does look wholesome and much more suited for children than military drills. I add, but he doesn't seem too convinced. And again, he never spent an idle day in his life, so seemingly pointless activities must be mind-boggling. What's all this? As we continue our walk to the city center, the crowded street suddenly unfolds onto a large open space paved with pale stones. At the far end of the square, flanked by massive apartment buildings, is a monumental structure which could only be the magistrate's palace. Holy fuck. Oh. 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 Oh god. Oh. Oh my god. Let me just... Should have brought it up earlier. Oh my god, I just realized what it was. I exhale, completely taken aback by the towering marble wall glistening in the morning sun like a glacier. Yeah, I had pretty much the same reaction first time I saw it. How can they build like this? I don't know. So much stone. It's stacked up so high that you might as well live in a cave. It does beggars belief, almost as if the structure itself was suspended from air like a silken tent. Ah, okay. Just... fuck. There's like so much shit on this thing. Chat box, and I'll just... Here we go. Just a little bit. Despite the undeniable bulkiness, the building feels light thanks to vast windows and an intricate promenade cutting it in the middle with a belt of white columns. But my attention quickly shifts to the market sprawled beneath it. Various stalls filling the edges of the square, leaving just enough space for a glorious fountain in the middle. True to its namesake, there's a figure of a feline bard playing a harp, stranded atop of a decent-sized pedestal amidst the shooting jets. I'm looking for it, but I can't find it. Sprays of water add another shimmer to the scenery, and it finally sinks in how different those two cultures are. Only 80 miles away, and yet worlds apart. See, it's not that bad. Like every place, Strandbard has its least desirable districts, but overall the city is decent. For sure. I try not to get baited into another commercial for living here on my own. Instead, I focus my attention on the peddlers of all races and creeds, trying to sell their wares. I rush towards the first stand, looking over the delicate bottles filled with different essential oils. Anything of particular interest, good sir? A lynx male asks in an expectant tone. Just browsing for the time being. I smile kindly, trailing the labels with my eyes. Lemongrass, coriander, pine, rose, lavender. Are those perfumes? I ask cautiously, expecting other, "Oh no, you speak my language," shticks. But to my surprise, none come my way. They can be, if young master wishes. The merchant shrugs casually, and for a moment, I'm slightly stunned. Please tell me you don't intend to ruin your scent with this crap. Rannoch mutters, his displeasure clearly painted on his muzzle, and I place my hand on his arm. It's perfume. It crap. He insists, and by a shift in his speech, I can infer he swapped to Tigery to embarrass me. I do not sell crap, sir. My oils are the finest products of Lynx Terra. If no crap, why sell in Tigery nowhere? Oh my god. I want to give this merchant, like, such dramatic flair. I nearly choke on that remark. Can't he see where we stand? Some of those stalls could easily double for his cottage. I gently elbow him between the ribs, drawing an amused oof from the wolf. Be nice, I mutter, looking apologetically at the vendor. Please forgive my friend. He isn't used to leaving Turnin. He and all the other wolves. The lynx scoffs at Rannoch, but quickly turns to me with a kind gaze. At least it's good to see that his lack of manners didn't rub off on you, young master. You mentioned they can be perfumes. What else are they good for? Cooking, baking, medicine, laundry. He hastily grabs a small vial of lavender oil. This makes for delicious cookies, as well as an amazing clothing freshener. Just add a dash in a bucket of water, leave your tunics to soak overnight, and the following day they smell just like a meadow in the autumn. He's selling it hard, but I'm not too convinced. Especially since lavender leaves now a rather bitter taste in my mouth. I cannot help it, but now it simply reminds me of that damned unhinged wolf mentally living on another planet. Being as far away from Andalta as possible does bring some comfort. Besides, I have other things on my mind now. For instance, with Rannoch clearly being able to understand the peddler, it only suggests we are talking in Tigery. Odd, I was almost certain I'd speak in Linxian, or whatever it's called. This language thing gets weirder and weirder. I noticed a small phial of peppermint just as we're about to leave. As good as the birch is at teeth cleaning, I bet I could whip out a nice mouthwash of it. How much for this one? Ah, an excellent choice, young master. For you, only 55. I bet you say everyone's same. Not at all. Never mind. I scold the wolf as he exhibits behavior unbecoming of his station and simply pull him away. Half a silver for a small phial of peppermint? This place is a madhouse. He protests, to which I simply roll my eyes. You can't be so critical of everything. We don't know how life works here. For all we know, it was a reasonable price. I begin to think that leaving here unattended might not be such a good idea after all. Wasn't mine to begin with. I flash my brows and continue our stroll between the stalls. This place seems to have everything. There is so much going on, color-wise and smell-wise, that my senses almost feel bombarded. Everything in Turnin was either green or brown with distinct forest aroma, but here feels like one was dunked into a rainbow. Blue grass, red bolts of cloth, even yellow furs, not to mention the spices of every imaginable color. Oh, thank God he's man. Yeah, I got like scared for a second. As I stop at one of the stalls, a flamboyant-looking tiger turns on his heel to face us, daintily spreading his arms. Ah, my young and well-dressed master. Do you see anything you like? He almost sings at me in a genteel voice, looking over my attire with a gleam in his eye. I forgot how flashy my dress actually is. Not at the moment, thank you. I'm just browsing. Ah, but of course you wouldn't. You are a man of far finer taste. I just remember that I have this on my computer. Hang on. Can I, like, access the terminal on here? I cannot. But I have this on my computer. I keep forgetting that I have this. I used it for a video, but it's amazing. Hang on, let me just... I have the FNAF jump scare sound on here. And it is amazing. Let me take this rubbish out of the way and dazzle you with wares worthy of your sophisticated glance. The male begins to brush away different bolts of cloth, making space for whatever he's fetching from underneath the larder. Really, there's no need. Feast your esteemed eyes upon my most exclusive items. Chiffon, velvet, satin from the far-off Orient. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, touch it. You'd be remiss if you didn't. He insists and I instinctively give in. My hand almost pulled to the fabric as if it were magnet. Wow, that is smooth. That bird's killing me. I gasp in amazement. Isn't it just so? He muses with a gentle smile, joining his hands at the waist. Indeed, it is of the highest grade. Perfect for tunics, or, if your purse can bear it, makes for a fantastic undergarment. It's like 100 gentle kisses planted on your behind. He chirps that last part, drawing a soft blush from my cheeks. Do you want to get yourself something new to wear? Rannoch leans in and asks discreetly, causing me to blink. Like what? A tunic, perhaps? More silk? I scoff mockingly and pull my hand away from the outstretched fabric, much to the merchant's dismay. All this stuff looks way too fancy. I can afford it. The last thing I want is for you to be spending money on me. It'll give me pleasure and a peace of mind. You won't bribe me, nor buy your way out of, nor buy out your conscience. I smirk challengingly at the wolf, to which he flashes his brows in his own tease. I can at least try. Nah, I'm not a pattern type of guy. So, my good sirs? The tiger rubs his paws impatiently, and I respectfully shake my head. No thank you, perhaps another time. I rush Rannoch along to move along. The next stall and the next one over sports a simpler kind of stuff, and some of it is even sewn into actual clothing draped over display mannequins. This one seems a much more reasonable place. A linen shirt tied at the neck. I point towards a particular item that drew my attention. It's simple and comfortable looking. I would very much like that. So be it. Rannoch nods with a smile and looks towards a young ferret-looking female. Seller, shirt for small human? He speaks in that familiar broken fashion, and I cannot help myself but smirk. This won't stop being amusing for quite a while. Oh, well, hello there. Nope, nope, nope. The jaunty voice of the previous merchant reaches us as a striped male brushes between the stalls. This is still me, my good sirs. He gasps for air, shooing the ferret with his hands. Get away, go dust the mannequins or something. He then corrects the edges of his hood and glides his paw across his fur, looking to me with a charming smile seemingly summoned out of nowhere. You don't want this thing, my elegant friend. It's cheap and drabby. Cheap is good, I mutter, both shocked and slightly amused by his persistence. Nonsense, nonsense. I can see by your taste that you need something with pizzazz. Actually, this isn't... Here you go. Chiffon with brocade... I don't know how to pronounce any of that. I'm just gonna skip that. Here you go. Chiffon with embroidery. Very stylish. Very much in fashion at the capital now. You will look ravishing in it. The tiger plops a bolt of shimmering fabric, intricately intertwined with golden threads forming floral patterns. At first, I'm dazzled by the quality of the material, but when I see the merchant bite his lower lip lustfully, I snap out of the charm. He's after our coin. This feels a little bit too much. Too much? Honestly, same. My fabulous friend, there's no such thing as too much when it comes to personality. Either you have it, or you don't. I'm looking more for something casual to wear. Casual? The merchant reiterates as if I just said a dirty word. Why on earth would anyone want to look like that? Perhaps because they're not too keen on being a mugging in the making? Oh, please. He brushes me off with a swish of his paw. Who would try to mug you with that hulking bodyguard at your side? He's not my... I bite my tongue, painfully reminded of the situation I'm in. Point is, he won't be around forever. I just need some regular clothes to blend in. Blend in? He repeats again as if I'd just spoken tongues. No self-respecting person would want to blend in. Might as well become part of the scenery. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. I am officially dead. He's doing the Chad meme pose. At least like a similar version of it, just like... Oh, you want to get this Chad fabric. You don't want those boring version fabrics. Might as well become part of the scenery. But very well. The male sighs in resignation, and thankfully finally reads my cues. I can't believe you make me do this to cover such exquisite a form with, dare I say it, tablecloth? It's unbecoming. It's too much. His tactfulness quickly turned into a theatrical display, and I'm no longer sure it's just a sales pitch. I just want to hang around him and just like have him offend customers or something. I might have really offended his sensitivities. The male ruffles through his boxes and then disgruntledly throws at the new counter items. But here have it. Those are some of my simpler wares. Dear light, even saying it makes me feel queasy. He presses the back of his paw to his lips and I smile. He's good. I take a closer glance at the fabric, and although less elaborate, it feels deceptively smooth to the touch. Simpler. Silk and cotton. Again, I grimace, looking towards something in the back that catches my attention. It's a white shirt, but not pristine sew. The fabric looks simple, if not dull, much more affordable. What about that one? Please, I beg of you. Mercy, my good sir. The male squeals as if he was under torture. It would be a crime for me to sell hemp to someone wearing that. He points to my dress, and although I'm starting to get slightly annoyed, it also drives home how expensive of a gift it was. In truth, it makes me feel embarrassed how quickly I began to take it for granted. Cotton is as cheap as I'm willing to go, and please, don't pressure me further. I have a reputation to uphold. Well, this one looks nice. I finally nod in a reluctant concession. Hiya! I like the embroidery. Isn't it just scrumptious? Hey. His tone shifts to pure delight. Very in now, this sort of needlework. Floral and abstract. Very in the season. Do you have it in my size? Oh, for sure. What are you, size cub 12? 14? He narrows his eyes, scrutinizing my form yet again. Yeah, 14 should do. The tiger clicks his tongue and disappears in the boxes behind his stall. We stand there, with Rannoch giving me awkward smirks. I know he understood the conversation, and how much praise of my figure the tiger forced into our exchange. I love this tiger. I want to be his friend. I just want to be his friend. I think I just mixed up words for a bit. Before I get too flustered, the merchant scrumptious. It's just scrumptious. Before I get too flustered, the merchant reemerges with the item, which he quickly unfurls. It looks very much like a perfect fit, which makes me so much more aware of how tiny I actually am. Size cub 14 indeed. Look good. Rannoch nods with satisfaction, and the tiger wastes no time to extend his paw in our direction. That will be 6 silver. I don't know how much that is, but it doesn't sound too bad, considering that we paid 3 silver coins for our night stay at the Broken Keg. Although shirt alone won't solve my wardrobe emergency. Would you have pants for sale by any chance? I've seen people round in some. I vaguely point to the crowd around us and the tiger nods eagerly. Of course! What would you like? Trousers or breeches? Trousers? I respond, not exactly sure what the difference might turn out to be. And the tiger has a quick thing. Honestly, I don't know the difference either. Is there a difference? Hang on, I'm gonna Google it real quick. Here we go. Difference between trousers and breeches. Like other words for similar garments, the word breeches has been applied to both outer garments and undergarments. Breeches uses a plural form to reflect it as two legs. The word has no singular form. The major and only difference between the two types of pants are with respect to the length. Is it like just ankle? Is it just like different length? Okay, here we go. Breeches. A garment worn by men covering the hips and thighs. Small clothes. Trousers. A garment worn by men and boys extending from the waist to the knee or to the ankle and covering each leg separately. Oh. Oh. The more you know. Yeah, that's very interesting, and the stream is casually dying. To go with your new shirt, I think I have just the thing. He winks and disappears beneath the larder again, only to reemerge momentarily with a nice brown pair of simple-looking pants. Here you go. Feel it. He insists, and I glide my hand across the fabric. It's soft and slightly fuzzy, definitely warmer than walking around in just the dress. They feel nice. Don't they just? He smiles almost perversely, and Rannoch raises his brow. How much? 10 silver. Why such much? Rannoch's startled reaction makes me think it might be more than we bargained for. However, the merchant stands his ground, seemingly almost offended. Dear Wolf, this is the finest of dried flannels. With little to no fur down there, the human will need the softest of materials to avoid burns and bruising. Hang on. He's so intimidating. He is so intimidating. This twink is intimidating. And now I'm publicly embarrassed again. But as much as jaded that point was, it's hard to not agree with. Yeah, that does make sense. Can we afford it? We can. That's not the issue here. I think he's a swindler. It is of good quality. I don't think I've ever worn pants that nice. I bop my head to the piece of clothing, and the wolf nods with a sigh, facing the impatient merchant. 14 for both. That would be 2 silver short. 14. Tell you what, for a whole talent, I'll add this lovely tunic. He points to the previously peddled silken shirt. The neckline is much shorter and less revealing, sewn for an actual male. And he called it. I am wearing a dress. I fucking love this tiger. To be fair, as much as I hate reaching into Rannoch's pocket, having one more thing to change into wouldn't be a bad idea. Besides, it is pretty. I finally concede an agreement. Do you see the embroidery? It follows the sleeve like so. Woolen twill with silk woven throughout. Do you really like it? Rannoch tilts his head, measuring both me and the tunic. This is just entertaining. I do, but this seems a lot of... We take. Excellent. The tiger clasps his paws and raises them to the sun in mock thanksgiving. What a joy making business with you. Let me pack that up. We wait as the tiger grabs some linen rag and packs everything tightly inside, wrapping it safely and securing it with the cord. Here you are, my lords. I hope these garments will bring you luck and much enjoyment. Once he passes us the parcel and we give him his due, we take our leave, with Rannoch carrying my shoppings under his arm. Hey, yo. Happy. You really didn't have to. I wanted to. He shrugs. Anyway, you needed something new to wear. To be fair, what I really need is actual shoes. I wiggle my left foot, but so far I don't think there are any. I splay my arms. All I can see is jugs, glassware, and clothing, but shoes? Not so much. Well, your kind might not be mythical creatures out here, but not exactly common either. True. I mumble with worry, realizing that getting the one thing I desperately need might not be as simple as I originally thought. We meander between the stalls on the lookout for the one item that could complete my attire, but it's increasingly hard not to get distracted by the bustle of this place. It's a simple market, but it's as vibrant as a kaleidoscope, so much different to turn in. Yes! Yes! Just this right here. Yes! I stop, hearing the energetic calls from the nearby stand. It's awfully crowded, and the gathered seem to be dazzled with the show. Come, come, my friends, witness the magical wonders of the mysterious land of Wei. What's this? I ask idly, only to have Rannoch shrug it off. Another peddler. I want to have a look. I mutter, approaching closer and pushing between various people until I reach the stall. There, a big rounded tiger splays his arms over an array of different containers with colorful dusts and powders inside each of them. Smell this enchanting aroma of incense and sandalwood. So we're going, even though the twink that we just bought from was probably gay, this guy is, like, I swear to God, the gayest one here. He's the gayest one around. He fans his paw above a small plate where the scented of substance chars merrily, spreading its subtle aroma. It reminds me of many manly perfumes sold back on Earth. Let me dazzle your eyes with cold fire and tempt you with the medicinal wonders of Ashari herbs. Come on, come all. I can guess the character you're thinking of. Come on, come all. Come smell this. He continues, dusting something over the incense, causing a small show of sparkling, glittering fireworks, followed by a yellowish fume. He's good. Very good, and other bystanders seem to agree. Yes, young master, you too, I see, are drawn to the unknown. Oh god, he even does the Akinator thing. Oh god, he even does it. I jitter in surprise as the tiger points me out from the crowd. I was wondering if you'd have any tea? Tea? Why, seems you know more of the world than most. But tea is for those dim-witted Felinians who buy anything you sell them. No, young master. He shakes his head theatrically. I only have the finest of chais. Here, sniff it. Sniff it. Oh my God. He's so aggressive about it. I only have the finest of this. Sniff it. He urges, scooping a handful of dried leaves from the box. Don't be shy. Invite it to your nostrils and let it tantalize you with its exotic aroma. Oh, that smells amazing. I gasp out, very much enthralled by the scent. And it tastes 1,000-fold so. The tiger proclaims, turning on his heel and grabbing a small steaming pot from the back counter. He pours a tiny bit onto his saucer and passes it to me. Here, just a courtesy sip. I eagerly nod in gratitude and bring it up to my lips. The warm tea hits my tongue like a lover's kiss, and I almost melt at the lovely earthy aroma. It also latches onto an echo of something lost in the void between the worlds, and I cannot resist the nostalgia. Oh god, I've missed this so much. This has to be the best tea I've ever had. You heard it yourself, folks. This well-traveled human himself attests to the genuineness of my wares. The tiger wastes no time to proclaim his triumph, and soon he's flooded with offers, people squeezing in between us to try to buy their own share of this delightful tea. You think we could fit this into our budget? I take this opportunity to utter a discreet question to my guardian. Sure, I'll buy you anything you like. Now Rannoch is the sugar daddy. Oh god. I smile in gratitude and wait for the merchant to be free from his current customer. Once the window of opportunity presents itself, I push through and draw his attention with a nod. How much for that small box, good sir? That'll be half a talent. What much? Rannoch exclaims to the much diminished shopping enthusiasm of the gathered. Half a talent. The tiger reiterates confidently and Rannoch scoffs. It dried leaf. He turns to me with a bemused expression. Come on, Kalen. This is obviously a con. I can find you some bushes like that in the forest. Rannoch, that's tea. I cross my arms and look at him with slight pity. It wouldn't grow in this climate, and as much as I liked to unwind with you sharing a cup of mug of ale or flagon of wine, I need to have something else to drink. Seriously? He frowns, throwing his aggravated gaze at the unassuming box. Can we afford it or not? That's not the point. The wolf sneers. For half a talent, I can buy you an entire barrel of the finest tigery stout. Like I said, I don't want to be drinking just booze or water, and if you end up following through with this mad plan of yours, it would be nice to remember you by. Are you sure you want to spend that much money on a box of leaf shreds? His unconvinced expression forces me to double guess this purchase, and I look to the merchant once again. How much cups is in there? If you use a spoonful for each pot, I'd say 20 to 30 servings. And a pot is like, what, 4 cups? I guess. Twitch the tiger nods. That is it, young master. Rannoch, that's like 2 months worth of tea. I will pay you back. Here, you can even take your token. I don't want you to pay me back. He scoffs in a clear display of offense. I think it's a waste of money. I'd buy a damned golden carriage if you asked me to. Well then, you'll be happy to buy me a bag of leaf shreds. I wink, causing him to ease up a little. I don't need a golden carriage. I don't need tea either, come to think of it. But if he wants to buy me stuff, I'd rather he buy me stuff I want. However, I'd be a fool to not heed some of his reservations. I face the merchant with a slightly apologetic gaze. My friend seems unconvinced when it comes to your offer. Perhaps if you were to sweeten it a little, especially considering the business I've trumped for you. I bob my head towards the still animated crowd. What would you have in mind? The tiger raises his brow. I've had some nice tisanes while staying at the inn. After all, common herbs come cheap, unlike tea. And there it is, slight smile from the merchant who follows my line of thought. Perhaps I could part with a small pouch. Which herbs are you after? Hyacinth or chamomile? Valerian root, perhaps? I definitely butchered all those. I try to recall the one Sylph recommended for calming nerves. Ah, you're an anxious type. Well, I have a good mixture for that. I can add it to the order. I would be much obliged. By the way, I was wondering if you could help me, good sir. I speak up as Rannoch concludes our transaction. My feet need covering. We humans wear shoes. It's a type of footwear. I know what shoes are, lad. Oh, please forgive me. I smile apologetically. Anyway, seeing as your market has all sorts of stuffs from foreign lands, I was wondering if perhaps there might be a shoe seller nearby, or a cobbler? A cobbler? My, that's not a word one often hears. The male laughs, rubbing his chin. I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you, lad. There are no humans living in these parts, and I don't know of any other kin who also needs footwear. But, as luck would have it, we quite often have traders and envoys from the Broken Isles passing through on their way to the capital and beyond. Our master leather worker is known for mending their gear, and I bet you would find help there. Oh, that would be perfect. Do you know where we could find him? Him? The tiger laughs yet again, pointing into the distance. Sloane has her shop set up in the street following from that corner from the square. You can't miss it. She's always tinkering with something at the counters. Thank you. I nod in gratitude and lead Rannoch in the pointed direction. Seems I might have found a solution for my shoelessness. Hopefully it won't involve another daylight robbery. The wolf chuckles, and although he's in a good mood, I still keep in mind that we've just spent 2.5 talent. I might not exactly know how much money that is, but considering my bond was set at 3 talents, and that it would take a ward 3 years to repay it, it ain't little. I take a deep breath of relief once we leave the crowded alleyways between the stalls and enter the streets flanking the square proper. Thanks for all of this. I'll put it to good use. No problem. You deserve a treat after all you've been through. I smile and gently bop into his shoulder. I enjoy this, as shitty as our situation might be, just walking around town and shopping with you. A breath of normality after all the craziness, eh? He snickers softly. I bet it feels more so for you. I add, realizing that no matter how much I waddle in self-pity, he's the one who went through actual trauma. Facing real battle with real consequences must have shaken him up to the very core. I've seen bits and pieces of it before, his stoic persona cracking ever so slightly. Yeah, this place is just as I remember it. Alien, but oh so exciting. Yep, that's definitely a sentiment I can relate to. I look at the various buildings flanking the streets like cliffs. It's almost surreal considering the living conditions in the Woven Village. Strandbart is really something else entirely. Okay, I'm going to move the chat box back up, and we are going to leave off here tonight. It's hilarious. Yeah, I love this update. I love it. For about 2 stream later. Like for the next stream or 2 more streams down the line. Like, do I need to be worried? Anyways, I'm gonna head off. Because there's, like, stuff that I gotta do tomorrow and also tonight. So, yeah. About 2 streams down the line, there's something special. Okay. I'll try to keep that in mind. Get the fuck out of here, Grammarly. Stay safe. Have a good night. Okay. And I'll see y'all tomorrow.